if we get to the point where we don't need anyone else's validation or approval when it comes to how we style our clothes, our bodies, I think you've arrived because you have so much confidence in yourself that getting dressed, accessorizing your outfits is pure joy.
Welcome to Women Thrive Season 5. This season, you can expect incredible conversations with women from all around the world. We at Women Thrive, not only do we put on incredible conversations with women, host events, retreats, publish a magazine, publish books, and we have created a platform for every woman to shine and share her message. So you right now tapping into a podcast that is globally recognized as the place for women to be and share their message. Be inspired, be part of the conversation, and let's thrive together.
So, hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Women Thrive podcast. My name is Abigail Rebecca. I'm so excited and so actually very excited to introduce this amazing woman to you today. I met her, I'd say probably about 5 months ago, and she is just a fantastic author, a fantastic human being, and a wonderful expert on something that I know that as women can often take us out of the game, and that is body confidence, body image. And sometimes this can be a difficult subject to talk about, but I think it's a really good subject to talk about. How do you feel about your body? How do you feel about your image? Do you have high regard and good self-esteem around your body? Or do you feel that sometimes you look in the mirror, you don't like what you see? Do you feel guilty when you're eating things that you shouldn't eat or that you don't think that you should eat? We're going to have this conversation now. We're going to get really real and raw with it. Because actually, if you think about business, sometimes if we don't like the way that we look, then that can sometimes massively impact the way that we show up. It can impact our visibility. It can impact our self-confidence. So this is a really great conversation to have. I want to introduce our very special guest today. Her name is Susan Walker. She is a physiotherapist and the clinical director for Walker Wellness Clinic at Cooper Aerobics Center. She and her husband, Philip Walker, have a clinic in Dallas that specializes in body image, eating disorders, depression, anxiety, and stress. Susan's passion is to share her clinical expertise on how to foster body esteem, which is the level and the degree of positiveness that you attribute to your body. And one of the things that she talks about in body esteem and in her book, which we're going to be speaking about today as well, is it's all about really quieting the voice of your inner critic. We all have this inner critic, right? So you become your very own kind of beautiful by improving your body image, your appearance, and self-esteem. And body esteem teaches you how to think positively about your body, your appearance, and your features. Susan, welcome. It's wonderful to have you today on the podcast.
Thank you, Abigail. It's lovely to be here.
I absolutely love what you talk about. And of course, we're going to be speaking about your book and about all the exciting things that you are bringing into the world at the moment. But first of all, for anyone who is watching and listening to this and they've never come across you before, could you introduce yourself a little bit about what you do? And also, most importantly, your story, like what drives you to do this kind of work? Like, what's your personal story?
Thank you. I'd love to share my personal story. I always wanted to be a psychotherapist. Growing up, my mom had a lot of depression, and I think I was codependent and her caretaker, just wanted to always fix her. And she did overcome her depression. Unfortunately, when I was 20 years old, I was diagnosed with endometriosis, which is a disease of the reproductive system. And I had surgery for it. And then at the age of 20, I had a hysterectomy. 23, they removed my ovaries. And I've had a total of 8 surgeries throughout my lifespan. And unfortunately, it came back at age 58. And we did remove the rest of the endometriosis, all the scar tissue. But through this journey, I always wanted to work with children, adolescents, and young adults. My husband says, because I never left adolescence, I got stuck in that developmental stage. It's probably true. At any rate, when I found out I could not have children and I had the hysterectomy, I almost did not go into this profession. I thought, how can I ever be a psychotherapist and work with this age group if I'm not a mom? And after a lot of personal psychotherapy myself and really working on that, I decided to go ahead and pursue it anyway. And luckily, my husband and I have worked very hard, but we've built a tremendous business. And my passion in life, because I couldn't have children, I would like to leave behind a legacy that says, I don't care if they remember Susan Walker, but I care that they remember the concept of body esteem and that I help others build better body image and self-esteem. That's my story. Later in life, and I'll add this to it because this inspired me as well. A couple of years ago, I was assaulted and developed PTSD. And during that time, I went through treatment known as EMDR. It's eye movement, deep processing motions, and desensitization. And it really helps one when they have gone through a traumatic event. It worked for me beautifully. But during that time, I was very ill and I was waiting for another surgery. And I looked like I was 9 months pregnant. I remember going to Super Target, which I call Target here in America. And a couple of ladies, I shop there a lot, said, when's your baby due? Or how many months along are you? Because I was so distended with all of the surgery pending. And I had to really come home and give myself a good talking to and work through more body image issues because it did hurt my feelings. It offended me. But when I processed it, I thought, when you're having a baby, that's such a happy, healthy occasion. These women don't know me. They were complimenting me. They did not mean it in a cruel, condescending fashion. And I think that oftentimes when it comes to body image and body esteem, we really need to learn a lot about how to communicate those issues. It's not okay to say, oh, it's nice to see you. I haven't seen you since Christmas, but you put on some pounds since then. That's totally unacceptable. And I think as a nation, as many countries, as we come together and unite, I think it's really important to have the type of respectful communication when it comes to body image, where you're not body shaming people. Body shaming brings up guilt, embarrassment, shame. And I follow daily all the body shaming on Google, and I read each one of them, and I am shocked how much this offends and hurts people. So for those reasons, I decided to pursue becoming a psychotherapist, and I've been in the business for almost 40 years. And then I decided to write my book at age 60. I'm now 66, and I'm thrilled about the book. We use it a lot in our clinics, but I would like other people who are not our patients to learn about this. If you have a loved one, if you have a daughter, granddaughter, you're an aunt or uncle, and you're worried about someone who's struggling with body image, and most of us do struggle with it from time to time. 80% of women are dissatisfied with their body image. And I think if we can help them work through that and improve their body image, ultimately they're going to have a better quality of life, better self-esteem, more successful in their career, in their personal life. And I think it can make a huge difference on one's emotional growth and development.
Just congratulations for everything
Oh,
that you've
thank you.
achieved.
Thank you so much, Abigail.
Just so wonderful. You must be so proud, and your husband must be so proud of you as well. I know that you
Yes.
work really closely together, and
Yes.
it's just so wonderful to hear you talk about a subject that can feel quite intimidating and sensitive to a lot of women. You talk there about a stat like eight, and I'm looking at your website now. So bodyesteem.com. Body Esteem is the name of your book.
Right.
And I'm looking at your website, and 80% of women are dissatisfied with the way that we look in the mirror. 80%, that's huge.
It is huge, but I think it's even higher.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe in the patient population where they're treated for an eating disorder, but when I do charity work where I meet people out in public, I hear people talking about it all the time, especially women. I think it's a real struggle, and I think we're afraid to talk about it sometimes because it is so intimate and personal. It's like getting naked in public. I'm doing the full Monty, as you say in England. But it's hard to talk about. My patients really struggle until we build a really good rapport, and then they can open up. But I do think that it's something we need to talk about for it to get better.
And it's interesting, isn't it, as women? I've spoken about this before, about the seasons that we go through in life. We're children, then we hit puberty. So you have all the body changes with hitting
Mhm.
puberty. Then you're in your 20s, you might get pregnant, you put on weight, you lose weight, you get ill, your body can change. You get
Mhm.
older, your body changes. You have
Right.
surgery, your body changes. I mean, oh my goodness, like me in my 50s, like I've got a completely different body than I did in my
Mhm.
20s or even my 30s.
Sure.
So, as women, we go through so many changes in our body. Why do you think? I mean, you're saying minimum 80%
Mhm.
of women don't like
Mhm.
the way that they look. Why do you think that is? What do you, what is the, I know this is a big question,
It's okay.
reason behind this season? What do you
I
think?
think that's a brilliant question, actually. I think that there is a tendency to compare ourselves to other people, which is a futile examination to do because most of us have different genetic predispositions, different dieting history. And so to compare yourself to other women at the office or women that you play mahjong with or whatever, I think is not healthy, but most of us tend to do that. I think the other contributing factor is in industrialized countries like South Africa or America, England, the UK, there's a lot of pressure on women to be not only thin, but to be physically fit. And I think it's twofold. In terms of the changes that you address, and you were really great at mentioning all the things that a woman goes through throughout her lifespan, one of the things I like to do with my patients is walk them through all the changes they can anticipate as they grow and mature. Like, for example, right before a woman starts her menstrual cycle, it's not uncommon to gain weight prior to that. And then usually they shoot up in height and everything just balances out. Women also have problems every decade. Our metabolism slows down 2 to 3%. And if you know that, you can kind of adjust it with your exercise prescription and your food intake. The worst thing you can do when you're struggling with weight management is chronic dieting. It slows down your metabolism. It makes you very vulnerable for a weight gain. And if you go on up to after women have a baby, give yourself plenty of time. The research shows you need about a year to recover from a pregnancy. I read an article that a Harvard dietitian said, and she goes, "Why did the celebrities lose the weight in 1 month?" She said, "It's crazy." She said, "They are fasting, and if they're breastfeeding, that's going to impact the baby." So her recommendation is take it nice and slow, enjoy your time with your baby, bond, and give yourself at least a year to get back into the place where you feel comfortable. When we reach perimenopause and menopausal years, Abigail, the studies show that 90% of women gain weight. What I like to do, because I see a lot of premenopausal, menopausal women in my practice, in addition to people who have eating disorders and disordered eating. But what I like to do is clear the path for success. Look at all your medications. Are there any side effects with any of them that cause a weight gain? Are you chronically dieting? That's going to slow you down and you'll gain more weight. What's your exercise prescription like? We want one that matches your personality so you'll be compliant. You don't have to like working out, Abigail. I don't, except ballroom dancing. I love that. But working out, I love the benefits from it. I sleep well, my stress levels goes down, I have better body image. But even if you don't like doing it, most women will be compliant because they see the benefit in it. They did a study with the World Health Organization in the UK, and they found that the women in the UK were dying at a younger age. Well, that impacts me because I'm married to a Brit. What do they say? Once you go Brit, you never go back. He's my keeper. He's the love of my life. But, I have my lovely relatives in England. And they said part of it is women are not working out. They don't like it. But once they started showing women in the UK and in England different types of working out, different types of prescriptions and exercise, that when they found something they could do regularly and they saw the benefits, they were incredibly compliant. So I think all of those things are contributing factors. I don't think women know what to anticipate in the future with weight gain. Sometimes, if we know what's kind of knocking on our door, we can prevent it and address it before it gets out of control,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And I love the way that you are able to walk your clients and walk women through what to expect, the anticipation, because sometimes you do, it's not, I mean, it's, I think now, especially with menopause, I think more people are starting to talk about it now, but
I do too.
My mum never shared with me about what happened.
Mine either. It was like,
I don't even know if she had a good time, a bad time. I had no idea what to expect. And I was hearing all these horror stories and I was like, oh my goodness, what? And actually, for me, it's been pretty easy breezy. However, I have put on weight and I've noticed that, and your metabolism does slow down.
yes. Hmm.
One of the things that we were talking about before we actually started recording
Hmm.
is about research that you've done into women feeling ashamed and guilty about eating something that they feel that they shouldn't do.
Hmm.
And I know that you were talking about diet. Would you be able to kind of just share with us a little bit around there? Because I think this is really interesting research, and I think something that we really need to learn about, that we don't have to feel guilty all the time if we want to
Right.
eat something in moderation, right?
Sure. In balance and moderation. Do you want me to address why women diet and why they sign up for diets? Would that be helpful?
Yes, yes.
Because that's
Let's
one thing.
address that.
Yeah. I mean, when almost every patient I see had a long history of dieting, and the first thing I say to them is diets don't work. And if you are chronically dieting, you're slowing down your metabolic rate, which could lead to a weight gain later down the road. That does get their attention. So we do a resting metabolic rate test in our clinic that measures precisely where your metabolism is, how much you need to weigh in a healthy weight weighing. And we put it more than anything, Abigail, on being medically stable, where their heart is stable, their vital signs, and they're still having their menstrual cycle. If you miss too many menstrual cycles, it's called amenorrhea. If you miss 3 or more, and that's because your body weight has gotten so low and you become infertile. We've never had a patient that could not get pregnant in our clinic because we safeguard that. We make sure they see the OB-GYN, they get their bone density tests done. We make sure they're getting the estrogen they need so they can have a baby one day if they choose to do so. The reason I've noticed, because when I was writing the book, I'm like, why do we keep signing up for these crazy diets, whether it be Atkins, plant-based? Why do we keep doing it? And most women go on 17 diets throughout their lifespan. And the reason they keep signing up is they feel virtuous. It's like, I'm being a good girl. I'm eating so healthy and so wholesome. I am really being good. And a lot of patients who develop an eating disorder are definitely the good girls, Abigail. They follow the rules. They don't act out at school. They don't get in trouble. They usually have never been kissed, so their delayed psychosexual development is a part of it. They usually have a higher IQ than the normal population. So patients with eating disorders, and women in particular who chronically diet a lot, usually struggle with these issues. But what happens with the dieting is, over time, a Harvard study came out and said if you're chronically dieting, you gain 95% of your weight back, and the next diet you go on, you gain even more. So it becomes this emotional roller coaster ride. It's this really defeating journey of ups and downs. And so it's hard for people who've been on a diet most of their life to say, okay, I'm going to try it. That's really scary for most patients. Susan, I've never been off a diet. So we have to get them to not only trust us as a treatment team, the dietitian, myself, and Philip, my husband, who's the exercise physiologist, but they have to learn to trust themselves. As you said earlier, trust their own intuition, trust themselves. There's a concept called interoceptive awareness. And it's basically, are you in touch with your emotions? And are you also in touch with your hunger sensation or satiety? The studies show if you're not in touch with your emotions, you're usually clueless when you're hungry or when you reach satiety. So I have a chart I give to my patients, and I have them start with getting in touch with your emotions. If we suppress our emotions, Abigail, we push them down. We don't allow ourselves to feel them, whether it's anger, sadness, happiness, loneliness. They will be heard. They will manifest themselves some way through an addiction like an eating disorder or alcoholism or polysubstance abuse, or staying on the computer or social media too much. But if we are in touch with our emotions, we get in touch with hunger sensation, satiety. We learn to train our brain and our stomach where we don't overeat. It's called hormonal crosstalk. And that is where When you eat a snack, it takes 10 to 15 minutes to get a message from the stomach to the brain. It's a hormonal crosstalk. If the tummy is talking to the brain, I'm comfortably full. You don't need that other granola bar, or you're still hungry. Have the other one. When it comes to a meal, 20 to 30 minutes. And again, hormonal crosstalk. It takes a while to get it up. The first thing I say to my obese patients who have binge eating disorder is, I'm not asking you to omit anything out of your nutrition repertoire. All I'm asking is that you slow way down, because most of us eat so rapidly, we don't allow enough time for that crosstalk. And we tend to exceed satiety. Oh, I'm so full. I'm uncomfortably full. Or I'm still hungry. I didn't have enough. And once we get in touch with our emotions and all of those issues, everything balances out. It's definitely something that I think one needs to be educated on. I'm still learning every day. I saw a study yesterday that I thought I would share with you that was so fascinating. A lot of women who have PCOS, that's with the ovarian disease,
Yeah.
struggle with weight gain. Women who have endometriosis, which I did, most of them are born with a little belly. I was, especially if it's genetically predisposed. In the study I saw yesterday, it's like if you have had endometriosis or have it, or you have PCOS, that you carry a lot of your weight in your hips and abdomen. And then it was talking about other diseases and disorders like diabetes and stuff, and where are insulin resistant. And that tends to be in our upper arms in our body. And as you may or may not know, I know that when I have gone through menopausal changes, my upper body is much larger than it used to be when I was in my 20s and 30s. It kind of shifts for most women, that they're more self-conscious about maybe their arms or their back, where we carry adipose tissue fat, brown fat, that's very hard to get rid of. It's genetic in my family. So I'm like, whatever, I'm wearing a cami bra. Sometimes when you can't address it, camouflage it or
Yes.
create an illusion. And that's what I teach in the fashion quotient of your body esteem, is there's some things that are never going to change with healthy nutrition, exercise. And if it really bothers you, figure out a way to contour it, to camouflage, to create this illusion where you feel so confident in your body esteem and it no longer phases you. I hope I'm answering your question. I tend to be long-winded if you haven't noticed.
No, it's great. It's fascinating listening to. There's just a couple of things actually that I wanted to address there, and it's really fascinating listening to you talk and your
Thank you.
expertise about it. And I just want to encourage our listeners to please get in touch with you. First of all, we'll find out where to buy your book, because we want to be able to direct our listeners to go and purchase your book. But also, please get in touch, right, with questions, because it's important that we start the conversation around
Absolutely.
this. Like you were just saying before, we can often like push down our feelings, and that includes the feelings that we have about ourselves, about our body, about the way that we look. And then that sounds like it's going to be something that's just fueling the fire, right? Because if we're suffocating our emotions, then we're going to be more inclined to not feel happy with the way that we look, because we're not dealing with our emotions, and maybe we're emotionally eating, or we're in a state like with cortisol, or I don't know, you're the expert.
No, that's true. Cortisol hormones and stress hormones. I mean, when those are elevated, yeah, we're usually tearful, really sad, sometimes depressed. Yeah.
So you were talking about creating, in your book, you talk about creating your signature style. Now, I'm fascinated about this, because 9 years ago I left corporate and I trained to be a personal stylist.
Really?
Yes, I did. And I love the fact that you can create optical illusions through clothes.
Me too.
And you can just, I call it the law of distraction, not the law of attraction, the law of distraction.
I love that.
You can distract people away. So for example, we're talking about big bellies. I've got fibroids. I found out about, it would have been about 17 years ago now. I've got really, really big fibroids in my belly. And the only way that they can really go, we've tried everything, is to have a full hysterectomy. And I'm not quite ready for that yet. But it just means that my belly's big, fibroids, but I use the law of distraction. So what I'll do is I know how to draw the attention away from my belly and maybe go to a piece of jewelry or go to
Mhm.
like what I'm wearing today. So I wanted to ask you about this because that's obviously a part of your book about styling and how we can use clothes to be able to raise our body esteem.
I loved it. I thought you were a fashionista. The way I like to approach the fashion is, first of all, know thy own body. And I'll use myself as an example, if I may. I am very short waisted. When I took my nieces to the beach, one of them was 3. And she goes, Susie, your belly button touches the top of your swimsuit. And I had on a bikini. I thought, I don't think this is the last time I'm putting on a bikini because I'm so short waisted. She was 3. Was she trying to body shame? No way. But I think if I know I'm short waisted, so I tend to go with a lot of monochromatic colors that lengthen my torso. I also love the V-necks. I love the accent of jewelry. I mean, I've got pearls. If you really want to do a deep V with your jewelry, the eye angles down. I also think it's important to somehow feature your greatest assets with your body. I have nice breasts. They're natural.
Me
I
too.
went from good for you. I went from a B to C after I had my hysterectomy. Like, yes, I kind of like this. This is the one nice treat from it. So I feel comfortable in clothes that do show I have very nice breasts. And I do a lot of exercises that keep them nice and toned where they're perky. So if you have something like beautiful legs or great toned arms, go with it, showcase that. And then factor in that those things that are not going to change, grieve that because it is a kind of a, I think, especially when we're in our teens and our 20s, we're so into style and trends that if you can't wear something that's in style, you feel really defeated. But I suggest you go with what flatters your body, not the latest trends. If it doesn't work for you, go with something else. And I also think it's important to get in touch with things that inspire you. I love Monet, Impressionist, especially he's a great French Impressionist. All of the colors in Monet, I have a lot of them in my closet because they look good on me. I also like the rich burgundies, emerald greens. I think to do color analysis. And the last thing I would say about fashion is do not ask anyone, your mother, your best friend, your husband, the salesperson, how you look because they can easily say, Susan, that does not look good on you. And I had an experience. I went to buy a swimsuit, and I haven't asked people for years and years how I look in something. Came out, and I'd shopped with this woman quite a bit. And she said, in front of everyone in the store, she said, Susan, that doesn't do a thing for your body. And it hurt my feelings a little bit. But I went home. I didn't buy the swimsuit. I went home and I thought about it. And I thought, I know my body better than anyone. I loved the way I looked in that swimsuit. It showed off my nice breasts. It was a tankini. You couldn't tell I was short waisted, nice legs. I'm going back and I'm buying that bikini today. I'm buying it. And I don't care what people say. I think if we get to the point where we don't need anyone else's validation or approval when it comes to how we style our clothes, our bodies, I think you've arrived because you have so much confidence in yourself that getting dressed, accessorizing your outfits is pure joy. Getting in lingerie, having sex with your partner, all of those things that sometimes create body shame and embarrassment. When you work on your body image, all of those become wonderful things that you create for yourself. And you erase all that shame and embarrassment and low self-esteem and poor body image, and you're glowing. You're ready to go. You're ready to set the world on fire.
Yeah, I love that, Susan. I always say that the greatest weight that you can lose is the weight of other people's opinions.
I love that. Yeah,
Quote me.
I will
Quote
quote
me
you on
next
that one.
book.
It's a brilliant one. I love that.
But you're right. It's about how we see ourselves, right?
Exactly.
About how
Exactly.
we feel about ourselves. And you have been able to show us quite brilliantly that actually you can just, okay, yes, if you want to change your body through exercise or diet, but actually you can shift the perception of yourself by the way that you think about yourself, the way
Absolutely.
that you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
It's just as important. I wanted to ask you about your book. Like, what's your biggest like vision for your book? What's your biggest wish in terms of what your book's going to achieve
Okay.
in this world,
What
the
I
impact.
Okay. What I'd really like to achieve right now, the women that are buying my book are 40 and up. And a lot, and even though I've worked with that population a lot and helped them through menopause, premenopause, and crisis, but I really want to start at a younger age. So I'm encouraging grandmothers, aunts that maybe don't have children, or maybe they have a relative, or they know of another friend that's struggling, to pick it up for them as a gift. It's kind of awkward. I'm really careful who I send this to because it may convey, oh, you need to lose weight. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying, let's have better body esteem. It's not a weight loss book, but I would like for the younger population to pick up on that because I believe in prevention and wellness. And the more we can teach them at a young age what to anticipate, how to foster self-esteem and body esteem, the healthier their lifestyle is going to be. And right now, that group is not buying the book as much. And so that would mean the world to me if all ages started buying it. And it helped them have a healthier, happier life. That would be the ultimate for me.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful gift, and especially to start that conversation and to start having those conversations at an early age. I think the world's changed. If I think about, for me personally, when I was in my teenage years, 20s, it was quite usual to switch on the TV and just to see like, or to read the newspapers and to see like celebrities on the front cover and like she's fat, look, she's put on weight, look at her in a bikini, she looks disgusting. And I remember last night actually we watched the Victoria Beckham documentary on Netflix.
Oh,
And she
okay.
was talking about her. It'd be interesting actually for you to watch it. She was talking about her. She's admitted she's had an eating disorder all
Oh,
through her
really?
life.
Okay.
And she was on TV, and I remember watching this show, and they weighed her after she'd had her first child. They weighed her on TV to see if she'd lost the baby weight. I mean, the messages were just awful, and
Terrible.
things have got better, but the
Mhm.
conversation still needs to improve. And I think this is about us as women taking over the conversation,
I agree.
empowering ourselves in a positive way, sharing
Yes.
information, sharing our feelings, sharing, just talking about it instead of like hiding away and then allowing other people to be able to control that narrative. So I love that you've written this book, and
Thank
just
you.
congratulations.
Thank you. Well, I'm honored that you would interview me for this podcast. I think you're wonderful. And I'm really excited about your career as well. It sounds wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Well, we're all up to big things.
We are, aren't we?
Right. One of the things that we're very excited about, Susan, is that you are going to be, well, as when we actually broadcast this podcast, you
Hmm.
will be on the front cover of the Women Thrive magazine, which
Thank
we're
you.
so excited about. We're recording it before it's actually been printed, so I really wish that I had a copy to hold up. I don't, because we haven't printed it yet. But how does that feel? How does that
It's
feel?
exciting.
Be on the
I
front
really, I
magazine.
worked with Tina, yeah, very closely, and she was lovely. But yeah, I'm excited about that. And I went back and read it, and Ramonda interviewed me, of course. Both of you are great at interviewing. I was just amazed when she sent it to me. I'm like, wow, this is really impressive. I don't think I changed very much in the document that she wrote. So I'm excited about it. Thank you so much for mentioning that.
You're welcome. We're really excited. Ramonda is a fantastic interviewer, and it's interesting that you're talking about perception of yourself and body image. And I've spoken to so many women in the past that would love to do something like that. They would love to be on the front cover of a magazine, or they would love to go and get a professional photo shoot, or they'd love to have more photos of themselves on their website, but they're really ashamed of their
Mhm.
body. And it's like preventing them from
I
going out.
know it holds you back.
Exactly. So it's impacting their visibility, it's impacting their success.
Mhm.
So I just say to, if you're watching this and you're listening to this and there are things that are holding you back, the perception of yourself that is holding you back from going out there and doing things like that, being on the front cover of the magazine like Susan, then we encourage you to buy this book because it's really going to be able to help you to change your mindset around it. Susan, where can we buy it? Like, where
It's
can we
on
get your book?
Amazon. I'll hold it up real quick.
Yes.
Little ad here.
Oh,
Little
yes,
commercial.
let's see it, please. It's so beautiful.
Thank you. It's called Body Esteem, Piece of Cake and Peace of Mind. It's on Amazon, or you can go to my website, and that's where I have the hardback, and I'll sign it for you. And that is bodyesteem.com. Again, bodyesteem.com and Amazon.
Hold it
Okay.
up so that we can see it because we can't see it properly. There we go. It's beautiful. Why did you choose? I think I know this, but why did you choose butterflies?
Butterflies symbolize sometimes for people hope, change in their journey. I read the other day that when it's raining, that butterflies rest. And the quote went on to say, people need to rest too, especially women. We tend to keep going when we're fatigued. But it also, if you can see the hand here, my husband designed the cover, which I'm so proud of. It's like letting go, like let go of all the things that have held you back. Are you not dating because you're waiting for the perfect body? Are you not interviewing for that new position because you feel you're too overweight? What are the issues that are holding you back? And you get in the driver's seat and you take charge. And when you read this book and you work on these concepts, you will feel better about yourself and your body. I know that to be true.
It's wonderful.
I see it every day.
So we're going to put the links down below. So as you're watching or listening to this podcast, on whatever site you're watching it, there will be links below where you'll be able to go and find the book, whether it's on the website or whether it's on Amazon, and we'll get that book delivered to you. Amazing. Susan, thank you so much for coming
Thank
on.
you. I appreciate your time. And thank you for rescheduling. I wasn't as prepared as I need to be, and you were so sweet and kind to say, let's reschedule. So I greatly appreciate that.
Well, let's share this, right? Because we came on, didn't we? We were going to record the interview. And then Susan was like, it's just audio, isn't it? And I was like, no, it's video. And we were like,
No
right,
worries.
you do it because you need to be prepared. Come on, we need to be camera ready, right? We need
Absolutely.
to feel confident. We need to look confident. So we rescheduled, and I'm so glad that we did.
I am too. Thank you for doing this interview. I greatly appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. Any last words that you would like to leave with our audience today, Susan?
Please feel free to email me if you have questions. My email address is swalker@bodyesteem.com. If you have questions about anything I discussed today regarding my book, I'd be happy to respond to your questions. Again, it's swalker@bodyesteem.com.
Fantastic. Susan, thank you for being a wonderful guest today.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye now.
And thank you everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you would like to start the conversation, then reach out to us, ask us questions. If anything has come up for you today that you'd like to talk more about, then please get in touch with Susan. She's given you all the tools there. Go buy her book, reach out to her. You can tell she's such an amazing woman.
Thank you.
And just your expertise and your research in this, Susan. Thank you for doing this.
My pleasure.
There's a lot of people in this world that need to have that extra attention and confidence really around that. Let's all fall in love with our bodies. I want us all to look in the mirror and go, yeah, come on, girl, let's do it. Susan, thank you. Thank you for watching, everyone. Thank you. And we will see you on the next episode of the Women Thrive podcast.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Women Thrive Podcast. I'm so thankful for you as a listener for spending time with us, myself and my co-host Abigail, to hear our conversations with our guests. If you have had the opportunity to hear our podcast, do make sure you leave a review and share this episode with your audience as well. This has helped us reach the 5 top % globally ranked podcast, as well as reach more than 30,000 downloads to date. Your support means so much to us, and this is how we get to reach more people around the world. At Women Thrive Media, we're here to amplify voices of women and empower women to take the center stage and shine a spotlight on their messages.